When the the Indiana Fever loss to the Las Vegas Aces definitely stirred up the hornet's nest, so to speak, in so many ways because it was an absolute disaster from top to bottom. And you have, of course, the Hatelens, the slows, going to use every opportunity that Caitlin Clark doesn't have a Superman level game to trash her and talk about how bad she is and on and on. And y'all know the drill by now. And it was not good. Like, I am not doing this video to defend Caitlin Clark. She had a bad game. She had a really bad game. And for me, if I'm going to boil it down to one thing, the missing two free throws when you're up three in that situation that could ice the game, zero excuse. You can't do it as an elite player. I think lucky for her, people missed or missing the fact that they actually went 0 for 3 in that sequence. Kelsey Mitchell missing a free throw before. Look, when Kelsey Mitchell misses a free throw to ice a game, and then Caitlin Clark follows up by missing two free throws to ice the game, that's not your game to win, right? Like that's just sort of I think we all know at that point that it is just not your night to win a basketball game. But again, there's so many things that we could talk about. You've got a lot of Caitlin Clark lovers out there using this opportunity, I guess, to strut their bona fides by trashing Caitlin Clark and blaming the loss solely on her, which it isn't. She was not good. Again, this is not a defensive Caitlin Clark. This was a top to bottom Stephanie White all the way down to the water boy or girl disaster from I was gonna say from start to finish, but they had a nice stretch in there where they built up a 20-point lead because they couldn't miss a shot for a moment in the second quarter. But before I carry on and on too much about all of that, I want to focus on not the final two plays. We'll call them the final two big plays, right? The Chelsea Gray three-pointers, the one that sent it into overtime, the one that won the game, and all the other things in those specific plays. I want to go through those, break down the film, because I think those two plays sort of encapsulate everything wrong with the Indiana Fever and the issues that they are going to have stemming from Stephanie White being a terrible coach as well as some fundamental issues with a number of the players. Keeping in mind, the one thing I would add to everything I was just saying, I mean, I don't know that the Indiana Fever played worse this season when you factor in everybody. And yet it took two monster three-pointers by Chelsea Gray at the end of regulation and the end of overtime for the Las Vegas Aces, defending champs, I think currently second best record in the league, to walk away with a victory. Just something to keep in mind. But anyway, first we're going to bring up the game tired by Chelsea Gray to send it into overtime, and then we're going to look at the game winner as well. Let's break it down. Okay, mistake number one on this disaster of a play is solely in the hands of Stephanie White. Fewer than 5 seconds to go in the game. You are up three. You do not, in any way, shape, or form, allow a three-pointer to be taken. You foul and you put a player on the line. But it is clear that Stephanie White gave zero instruction for that, and it just got worse. But I mean, like that right there, all this other stuff that we'd be talking about, all these conversations we happen. Yeah, people would say Caitlin had a bad game and all this other stuff. But if Stephanie White, barring insanity, y'all know things happen in sports, but barring insanity, if Stephanie White makes the correct decision here, and she made a lot of bad decisions leading up to this. I mean, we can talk about letting the 20-point lead go and letting Jackie Young basically erase it personally in 4 minutes, cooking Kelsey Mitchell at play after play after play, and Stephanie White making no adjustments. But again, sorry, distracted. There's just so much I want to focus on these. Stephanie White makes the right play here, says, hey, when it's inbound, foul, don't let him shoot a three, put him on the line. We all go home, and that is the end of that. But of course, that didn't happen. So we've got the inbound. Boom. Aaliyah Boston deflects the pass. Good play, by the way, right? Because that is Chelsea Gray. They tried to run something initially for for Chelsea Gray, and Aaliyah Boston makes a nice play, knocking the ball away. So the second biggest thing here after Stephanie White, again, although I gotta say this might be partly on Stephanie White, right? When your players are completely lacking in the fundamentals of the game, especially here when Stephanie White is supposedly this defensive specialist, this defensive genius. And what Lexi Hull does here, you learn from day one. It is inexcusable. Sorry, Lexi Hull, but there, like I see this, and it's a what the like what are you doing? So I'll let it go so you can all see what I'm talking about. It's deflected toward Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, toward Lexi Hull. But watch Lexi Hull. Okay, here we go again, and then I'll explain why. Lexi Hull has no idea what is happening. If Lexi Hull is playing good, sound, basic, fundamental defense, this deflection by Aaliyah Boston ends the game because Lexi Hull picks it up and Lexi Hull is fouled with, I don't know, maybe 3 seconds left. But Lexi Hull skips the most basic fundamental thing of defense in basketball. See the player you're guarding and see the damn ball. See the player you're guarding and see the damn ball. See the player you're guarding and see the damn ball. It ain't rocket science or rocket surgery or brain science or whatever you want to call it. This is inexcusable by Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull has no idea what is going on behind her. None at all. Should she be helping on something? She doesn't know. And so this ball somehow gets by Lexi Hull to Jackie Young, right? Now, Aaliyah Boston was charging, trying to chase down that ball. Now you've got Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston there. And again, this sort of reconfirms and reemphasizes the mistake of Stephanie White. Now we're down to 3.5 seconds left. Either Lexi Hull or Aaliyah Boston could wrap up Jackie Young right here and send her to the line for 2 free throws. Kelsey Mitchell, although she is late, and I don't think she got over there with the urgency, and then she bites too easily. But at least Kelsey Mitchell recognizes the mistake made here by Aaliyah Boston trying to chase it down, which leaves Chelsea Gray, because that's who she was guarding, leaves Chelsea Gray in this situation. Lexi Hull having no idea what's going on because she's not paying attention to what's going on. And then neither one of them fouls Jackie Young. At least Kelsey Mitchell recognizes it. Even if the execution isn't the greatest, she recognizes it. Now, you could also say Michaela Timpson should also be recognizing this, and I would rather have Michaela Timpson close it. Well, because of her height and length, I would say. I was going to say her athleticism, but Kelsey Mitchell's pretty damn athletic too. And Chelsea Gray, even at this point, should not get off this 3-point shot. But there's no reason for Michaela Timpson not to leave her player and race out there either. Because again, 3.5 seconds left, 3-point game, folks. The only thing you don't want to happen is a 3-point shot uncontested. Should have fouled, should have fouled, should have fouled. Don't foul. At this point, you too late because this pass goes to Chelsea Gray. Again, see, there's Kelsey Mitchell coming, but she comes kind of at a weird angle, doesn't get her feet set. A little movement by Chelsea Gray sends Kelsey Mitchell, and Chelsea just steps to her left and is a wide open three. Michaela Timpson never close. See, there's the thing, they could both go. Again, 3-point lead, now under 3 seconds left. No reason for Michaela Timpson to stay home under the basket. At this point, Chelsea Gray's probably not passing for a layup, and if she does, so what? Maybe you've got 2 seconds left, you're up one with the ball. but they don't do that. And again, I go this down. Yeah, there's obviously player stuff involved. I don't know the balance. I go ultimately back to Stephanie White because she clearly didn't tell her players to send someone to the line. But how do you not drill it into someone like Lexi Hall? How does and again, I put that a little on Lexi Hall as well because that's something that would have been drilled into her from the time she was single digits in age. It's just everything about this is an absolute team disaster. Kelsey Mitchell goes by a little bit. Chelsea Gray just steps to her left, and she's wide open. And again, there's 0 point for Michaela Timpson to be where she is because a layup does not matter. Even if she recklessly closes out, not to run into her, but just goes out there quick to get a hand to bother Chelsea Gray a little bit. Chelsea Gray is not dumping the ball over her head for a layup. Even if she does, at that point, there's probably less than a second left. The game is over. But then we got, boom, we're just going to stick that. I mean, what are we doing? Everything about this is an absolute disaster for the Indiana Fever. Every single thing about it. Man, all right, let's move on. I could break this one down even more, but let's go to the end. Now, I just want to show this before we get there, just to give you an idea of what Stephanie White did here. Zero, and we'll get it into the video, but as you can see, there's zero help for Caitlin Clark, and she also can't drive because Michaela Timpson's defender is like, yeah, I'm not worried about Michaela Timpson out there. Probably no reason if this is what you've done, no reason for Michaela Timpson to be on the court for this. But all they did was spread it out and give Becky Hammond and the Aces the advantage in the situation, which I'll get into in a little more here in a second, because we are, of course, going to break this one down as well. So here we are, 23 seconds left. Fever up one, 17 seconds on the shot clock. Ball's at midcourt. Here we go. Caitlin Clark. Now, as you can see, everyone else just runs away from her. We're going to go complete ISO, not going to set up any kind of play, not going to run any kind of play. By the way, a lot of good coaches in this situation, they might let the clock get down to like 5 seconds, call a timeout, and then run a set play off the inbound, which of course we don't get from Stephanie White. So now we've got Asia Wilson guarding Caitlin Clark, and in other situations you think, okay, that's we'll take that, but not in this situation. Not in this situation. Why? Well, as you saw with that um, image, Caitlin Clark wasn't driving to her right in that situation, right? She had help. There was help in the paint because no one's guarding Michaela Timpson out. Michaela Timpson's not taking a 17, 18, 20-foot jump shot in this situation. Where Caitlin Clark really would have an advantage over someone like Asia Wilson here is, kind of go at her a little bit and then take a decently ranged step back three. Again, that is one thing you are not going to do in this situation. End of the game, you're up one, about 6 second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Becky Hammond out coaches Stephanie White completely and embarrassingly in this situation. So Caitlin Clark gets absolutely nothing, right? No help whatsoever. Everyone's like, okay, Caitlin, we're not going to run a play for you because, hey, guess what? If this doesn't work out, we know everyone is going to put all of the blame on Caitlin Clark. I mean, other than the few basketball knowledgeable people, but there isn't a lot of that in the WNBA, and the noise is so much louder than the truth when it comes to the WNBA. See, again, like this right there, couple of things. This is in a normal game situation where Caitlin Clark takes advantage of this. That ball goes between her legs. She steps back. All of a sudden, she's got a lot of space over Asia Wilson because Asia would be, like I'm out here on an island. I don't want Caitlin embarrassing me to go and by me. And she takes a you know decently ranged 3-pointer, not a logo three. Pretty much a normal Caitlin Clark 3-pointer. That's what would happen in this situation every single time within the game. Not with 6 seconds on the shot clock, 12 in the game, and you're up one in overtime. And Becky Hammon knows that. She's not worried about Caitlin Clark taking a step back three. I'm sure that's one of the things Stephanie White pounded into her head not to do. But again, as you can see with the situation and how things are guarded, Caitlin Clark can't get into the lane. She can't drive because of the way the defense is. Not worried about a kick out to Michaela Timpson in the corner. And let's face it, not I mean, Caitlin's probably not going to drive left, so we're not really worried about too much help. And Kelsey Mitchell, and again, completely spread out, no help by our teammates, no one coming over to set a screen in any way, shape, or form. So we just get this. So Caitlin, now here we go. Oh, and what I would have now it could be done here too. What I was going to say right before I moved that I just added another second, but either there where you saw that or here where you see this, a good coach calls a timeout. A good coach says, we've got nothing going here. We don't have a play called. We're not in a situation where ISO is going to work, but we do have enough time for a timeout and a well designed play off of the inbound pass. 5 seconds is an eternity to run something from an out of bounds set. But did Stephanie White call a timeout here? No, Stephanie White is standing there like the absolute buffoon that she is, complete fraud as a basketball coach, because all of this that I'm telling you is none of the oh well, Stephanie White doesn't like Caitlin Clark. That's why she's doing this, and that's why this is just pure basketball stuff, right? That defense thing, by the way, I meant to add, so glad I digressed into this because one thing I wanted to mention in the defense thing as well was this damn substitute. Caitlin Clark's actually one of your best defenders. This taking Caitlin Clark out in those situations is absurd. Absolutely absurd. By the way, Caitlin Clark is a better defender than Kelsey Mitchell. She's also a much longer, much taller defender than Kelsey Mitchell and would have done more to prevent the Chelsea Gray 3-point attempt that sent it into overtime than Kelsey Mitchell would. Now, granted, if either one of them could hit a free throw, we wouldn't be talking about this. But so now we've got here's that last opportunity to call a timeout. Now, I'm going to be fair here. I guess she's at that situation where it's like, I don't know what to do here. I've got nothing. I have no help from my teammates. The shot clock's running down. I can't take a shot. This is a bad decision by Caitlin Clark right here. I will say that right now. I don't think she's understanding the length of Asia Wilson. Now, that being said, she didn't have a whole lot of other options. And 100%, I've seen it from a million different angles. Asia Wilson absolutely blatantly fouls Caitlin Clark for the loose ball, right? I mean, that is 100% a foul. Now, whoop, I want to back it up. I don't know why it's not pausing. It's really getting annoying. All right. Uh, so let's back it up. So now we've got this. Asia Wilson, with her special whistle, gets away with the foul. And by the way, there's a couple fouls. I don't think I have the video, but I'd see where you see another angle from the other end line looking down, and on the last dribble to Caitlin's right before she attempts to pass, Asia Wilson puts both arms, both hands on Caitlin Clark's stomach to impede her. Freedom of movement foul there. And then after the deflection, when she goes up for the ball, blatant shove on Caitlin Clark, also a foul. Now, this being said, you can see Chelsea Gray, who's going to receive the pass from Asia Wilson. She's just about off the screen to the right. Kelsey Mitchell, because Chelsea Gray was guarding Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell is behind her. Kelsey Mitchell is actually where she should be defensively. Now you can see all the rest of the Fever are foul line and below with Caitlin Clark on the deck. Less than 8 seconds to go. All right. So Kelsey Mitchell, again, normal basketball. And this, I mean, this I think I have to put more on the players, although it seems like Stephanie White is not drilling the fundamentals in their heads, because this is absolutely one of the dumbest things I've ever seen from a team defensively speaking. And it starts with Kelsey Mitchell. This, again, this is third grade stuff, folks. Kelsey Mitchell, the ball gets outletted to Chelsea Gray. Kelsey Mitchell is to your right. She's off screen. She has the ball. Sophie Cunningham is hustling back to get her player. If Aaliyah Boston looks over her right shoulder, she's got her. Michaela Timpson has Asia Wilson, right? Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark's on the floor, but with the time going, we have 6 seconds left. That fifth player doesn't really matter. So they're doing right now really everything they should be doing in transition. And then it just blows my mind what happens from here. I don't know what the hell Aaliyah Boston is doing right now. And so I'm going to put part of this, what you're about to see, on Kelsey Mitchell still, because right here, right now, if not sooner, the entire arena should be hearing Kelsey Mitchell yelling, I got ball. I got ball. I got ball. I got ball over and over again. I got ball as clear as can be. Because I don't know what the hell Aaliyah Boston is doing, leaving her player and drifting over to Chelsea Gray. Makes no sense whatsoever. By the way, Kelsey Mitchell should be doing that, whether Aaliyah Boston does that anyway. Like, it's just a thing that should be drilled in your head when you, especially after a turnover, you get in transition. If you're the one who's picking up ball, you need to make that clear every single time. I got ball. Let everyone know. Kelsey Mitchell clearly did not do that. So now we've got this. So now Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Mitchell's now drifting over because she's like, well, what the hell am I doing? Who am I? Sophie Cunningham caught up to her player. Kelsey Mitchell's kind of in no man's land. Like, wait, who do I have? Because Aaliyah Boston did this really dumb thing, very low basketball IQ stuff of leaving her player to go guard Chelsea Gray, who was already guarded by Kelsey Mitchell. So now Kelsey Mitchell's on ball, but what does Aaliyah Boston do now? Now she flips back the other way to her right. Aaliyah Boston is screws up this entire transition as badly as any player could. When it first starts, she leaves her player to drift over to Chelsea Gray. So Kelsey Mitchell's like, well, I better go pick up somebody else. And so when that happens, Aaliyah Boston turns. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to leave Chelsea Gray now and go pick up someone else. Right? And so now Kelsey Mitchell, I give her credit for this. She actually flips over, stops the ball, but Aaliyah Boston is absolutely clueless because, again, now she's in no man's land. Kelsey Mitchell left Chelsea Gray because Aaliyah Boston came over with doing the dumb thing and picking up Chelsea Gray. And then she leaves Chelsea Gray. And Kelsey Mitchell covered for her by picking up Jackie Young, but Aaliyah Boston. Now look at Aaliyah Boston has no idea what's going on. No idea what's going on. She can't guard Chelsea Gray. So she's leaving her wide open for a three-pointer. This is some of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Because again, not only does Aaliyah Boston screw this up multiple times, but look at her here. She's looking to her right now. I mean, you know Chelsea Gray's out to the left behind you because you ran over to get her, which is why Kelsey Mitchell shifted over to take Jackie Young. And now you're looking at her, you're looking at Jackie Young, and it's like, oh, wait. Then you pivot improperly, you're off balance, you're leaning to your right and backward, and Chelsea Gray has 10 feet of space on you. And you sure as hell aren't going to be the one to close out because if you do, she has enough time that she can sidestep you. So she gets a wide open look. She even got a chance to get set, and you were so afraid of her driving with only 2 seconds left that you rocked back on your heels, and Chelsea Gray makes a winner. Everything about the tie to go into overtime and the game winner was an absolute disaster on the coach and the players, but it all starts with the coach, right? I don't know what percentage of, well, I got to put that on the player, right? Like the thing with the transition and Lexi Hull. I mean, maybe Lexi Hull was told, just I want you stare by Stephanie White. I want you staring. I want you staring at Jackie Young the entire time. But look, man, I mean, there's so much, like I said, I mean, I think this video ended up being over 20 minutes just looking at those 2 plays because there's so much to talk about. There's so much that was so bad. And again, not absolving Caitlin Clark. I just focus on a couple of things in film I wanted to break down that kind of encapsulates all of the issues with the Indiana Fever that are even separate from Caitlin Clark. So people can't just say, "Oh, well, you're just complaining of the whole Stephanie White doesn't like Caitlin thing." If that's not if Caitlin's not on the team and you have another point guard. I think Stephanie White does the same thing, right? That's the issue there with those decisions at the end and the ISO ball and the not calling timeout. And her players clearly have no idea what they're doing in transition. Absolute disaster from top to bottom. And yeah, and again, that's why I said, like, anyone saying, "Oh, it's this person's fault or that person's fault," there was so much wrong with everything, right? Caitlin Clark made some bad decisions. She did not play well. She did not shoot well. Um, the missed free throws like that is something you say absolutely zero excuse for that. Kelsey Mitchell as well. Again, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, two phenomenal free throw shooters, go 0 for 3, up 3 at the end of the game. They needed 1 of 3 from the line to ice the game, and they could not do it. But I wanted to show these 2 plays to be able to break stuff down, not make it about Caitlin Clark or her relationship with Stephanie White or any of that, and just look at the issues they have coming so much from a coaching standpoint. Absolute disaster, disaster for this team. Uh, and yet it took 2 monster Chelsea grade 3 pointers for the Aces to get out of this with a win. Like I keep saying, no great teams in the WNBA, man. Despite everything they've been doing and everything against them and the poor fundamentals and the bad coaching and all of that, the Indiana Fever can win a title just from talent alone because there are no great teams. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. I will talk to you later.